NewGenGamers.com.
Retro! Ladies and gentlemen, this is the game Snatcher for the Sega CD. It was created by the man who created Metal Gear. What was his name again?
Hideo Kojima.
And he created it back in the mid-'80s for the computer system.
MSX.
MSX, that's right, sorry. And this is a recap of the first act, so if you'd like to listen through. Now, Metal Gear is a character in the game that is like your little notebook. It's a computerized notebook. This is pretty cool. This scared me when I was a kid. The violence in this game is insane. Ah, good stuff right there. But yeah, the Metal Gear, he is a small version, a friendly version of the Metal Gear Nemesis from the Metal Gear games. And he keeps all your information, such as your save data, any evidence that you find as you go through the game, skin samples, different things. Now, we're in headquarters right now talking to the chief, and he's just recapping what happened in the first act of the game. This is a computer system used in the game that has all kinds of information. You can find information on stuff that isn't in the game, and also it has so much like background information, just little things that give the game so much character, such as people have pets that are purses. So they've actually genetically engineered in the future pets that have kind of pouches like kangaroos, or they're set up like a purse with a head. You never see them in the game. You see them like one time at a vet's office. But it's just insane the detail he went into.
Yeah, this has a really cool backstory by the sounds of it.
Oh, yes.
And when you were saying about the violence, that was something you really didn't see much of in the United States before, this game came out, because anything that Nintendo had on their systems had to meet a certain violence requirement, I guess you could call it. And so disemboweled heads and gore were not allowed. And Sega allowed these types of things, and so this was probably one of the goriest games you saw. And, these retro reviews that we're doing tie into an article series on NewGenGamers.com called Console Wars of the Past. And we also did a podcast series along with them. And we talked about, in the, I believe the 17th podcast, we talked about this era of gaming and how it went to congressional hearings about the violence in games. And this is one that I don't know if they brought up or not, but if they didn't, they could have.
Now, you notice there that they're in a nightclub. That's a part of the game where you go downtown, and all the people are dressed up as Konami characters, because it's a dress-up night. You have to have a mask. I want to mention that the game is based on a neopunk. It's considered a neopunk story, and it's along the lines of Blade Runner in many ways.
That was weird, because I was going to say that this reminded me a lot of Blade Runner, and
it was literally based
awesome.
on the movie Blade Runner in many aspects, because it's, once again, it's a neopunk story, which Blade Runner was probably considered the most well-known neopunk story. But even the lead character, Gillian Seed, he is based on Harrison Ford's character. And, I mean, the whole idea of, the robots taking over people's bodies and all that good stuff. Now, for the Sega CD version, they added light gun support. There's very few fight scenes in this game, but there are a couple, and they just kind of put a grid up, and you can use the cursor or the light gun at the time that they had available for the Sega CD system. It's also, this version, there's a girl named Katrina in the version. Now, in the Japanese version, she was 13. They changed that to 18 for the American version, because there is a scene where you see her in a shower and she is nude.
which is normal in Japan.
Exactly. But for American audiences, no, that's no good. That even looks like the bad guy from Blade Runner, if you look, which is, once again,
that's awesome. That's interesting, too, with Hideo Kojima, because he aspired to be a movie director and not a game designer. And so here you kind of see him go back to his roots, I guess, and go for a really cinematic game.
Absolutely.
And that's awesome that he's brought that to gaming, because when you play any of the Metal Gear games, you get that feeling of, you're in an interactive story and you're playing these deep characters, and all of his characters are really deep.
Now, the only other thing I think I can mention about this game is how gameplay works, which I don't know if we'll get to see here. But you go around the different offices, the different rooms and hotels and such, and you investigate, you search, you see what you can find. As you search more and more, you can find different things. You'll leave a room and you'll come back in and something will be different. It's like playing a novel.
I really want to play this now. I've never actually gotten a chance to play this.
Oh, it's amazing.
This is something, you know, I've heard of this game being really good and being one of the ultimate Sega CD games.
Absolutely. Now, there was a PlayStation version of it, too, and they changed the cutscenes from what they have now into like 3D rendered cutscenes. They're not as good. And there's also another computer version of it that's called Super Deformed Snatcher, and it's more like a side-scroller, over-the-top view. Now, here's some of the gameplay. I can move about the rooms if I wish to. Would you like to go? He asked me where I want to go. We'll go to the shooting range real quick, just to show everyone the shooting range. So you can see kind of how it works. Now, this won't be the actual fighting of the Snatchers or the bugs that they send after you, but it's kind of an idea of how the shooting would work if we were playing.
Now, the Snatchers, they're impersonating humans?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And that's part of the storyline. Like, you have to find out why and how they're doing it, because no one has any idea. Your character is known as a junker, which I can't remember what it stands for, but they're investigating this whole Snatcher menace that's over Neoko, which is kind of like Tokyo and New York City put together. There, shot a human. Alright, I'm done practicing. But you can see how the shooting works. The game's not about the shooting. That was just added for this version mainly to support the light gum, so they could put a little action in there, but it's unneeded. It's mainly the very neo-punk storyline that just draws you in. There's so much detail. It's a great, it flows just perfectly, and I hope and wish that they would release maybe a Nintendo DS version of this and Policenauts together. There's a lot of forums, not forums, but people were signing petitions even on the internet as far back as 5 years ago to get them to re-release these games, because they are just fan favorites.
I can't believe they haven't done that, or Kojima hasn't picked back up on this, and it's very likely that he will, because he said that Metal Gear Solid 4 is the last one in that series and the last one of those he's going to do. So, you know, maybe down the road here we'll see a sequel to this, or at least a port. I think a port is much needed on a current console.
And that's pretty much everything. This is Sega CD, Snatcher for the Sega CD, I'm sorry. And sign the petition, play this game. It's amazing. It'll draw you in. I've been playing this game over and over I play it at least once a year. That's how good it is. So check it out. And would you like to do Ray's part again?
Well, yeah. Usually Ray is here with us to do these, but he's not able to make it today. So I'll say for him, happy arcading.
Happy arcading.
NewGenGamers.com